at this point, I think what I need to do now is start to go through, clean up all of the gasket surfaces, just kind of get this stuff dry. I've got some brake clean, some cleaning stuff, some gasoline. Actually, I got some parts percolating over here in a couple gallons of gas just to get those clean, like the timing cover. But I still need to get off a lot of the gasket, the old gasket stuff. Ugh. Yeah, look at all this crap breaking off. So that is going to be fun, I think. So we're going to get to it, start getting all that stuff off, and then we can actually get to maybe a little bit of a final cleaning and stuff, get the pan on, flip this thing around, and then we can hopefully get to the point where we're spraying some primer and then some paint. All right, so I just got the timing cover surface all cleaned up on this thing, and I used a couple different tools. I started off using just a knife, and that sucked. So and I started using these little brass, different kinds of little spinny brush things, and that worked pretty awesome. So now we got this front timing cover all pretty well cleaned up. So after I got the block all kind of put away, I was going to go inside, and then I got to messing around with some of the parts I had in here. So I got this thing pretty much cleaned up, the harmonic balancer. It looks like it needs some paint, though. It kind of looks like crap, but it's all cleaned up, degreased. That's all good. Then I started messing with the timing cover. Now, I've still got to clean this thing, but before I got too far, I was like, you know what, let me knock out this old seal, the front main seal, I guess, right? So I ended up, I was really stoked. I wanted to use this kit. I ended up buying this kit actually to use for knocking out some of the seals and stuff on the rear end of the Mustang, but I haven't, done that yet. So anyway, so I was excited to use this to drive out the old one, and then of course we're going to use it to install the new one as well. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you guys this kit. But I'll put the link down below for the kit. It was super cheap, like maybe 20 bucks. I got it on Amazon. But yeah, so this is going to be pretty awesome. All right, ready? I did end up driving this thing right on out of there. It was freaking awesome. So that's out. And then now I got my daughter out here. She's helping me. We're just cleaning this thing up, just screwing around a little bit. And then we're going to go inside for the night. So not much more action. But tomorrow we'll finish getting that thing all cleaned up and getting the heads all cleaned up, all that stuff, and then get this thing painted.
And you might see a cake video.
Oh, a cake video? Yeah, she wants to go make some cake. So Dad's got a German chocolate cake I'm going to make. And then what are you making?
I have like a
red.
Party. No, I switched.
Oh.
I have like a party one. It's like
okay.
A chick party.
What?
Cake.
Your shirt looks like a party.
Thank you.
All right, guys, it is the next morning. We got the garage heating up. It's nice and warm and toasty in here, ready to work. And let me show you what I did last night. So I ended up getting some paint on the harmonic balancer. So we got this bad boy all painted. She's looking nice. So that's good to go. I need to also paint the pointer, like the little timing pointer deal, because that's going to probably maybe end up going back on today or tomorrow. So the plan for today, I think we're going to probably get the timing cover installed, get this fully installed with the gasket, all the bolts, and then I think we're just going to go ahead and spray paint, this whole thing Ford blue. Not the water pump. Water pump will stay silver. I almost want to leave my timing cover silver, but it's kind of like so crappy and dingy looking. Plus, honestly, you don't even see the timing cover, right? Once the water pump's on, all the accessories are on, you're not even going to see this thing. So it's going to be easier just to bolt it all on together and then just be able to paint this thing as one unit. So I think we pretty much got the timing cover yesterday. All the gasket surfaces are all cleaned up. So I think the only thing we really got left is going to be the cylinder head surfaces. So I think I am going to need to kind of flip this thing around, and then we're going to go ahead. Let's get the sealing surface on the cylinder, on the block, for the cylinder head. We'll get that prepped and cleaned up. I also ended up buying a stainless steel bolt kit for the whole engine. So I got this thing, I think this came from eBay, but it was a crazy. It was like 125 bolts or something for like $60. Very, very inexpensive for stainless steel. All right, so I got this kit opened up, and it looks like all my worst fears were for nothing, because I was really worried that it might just be like a whole bag of bolts and I have to go through and figure out like what the hell goes to what. But these guys have it really nicely. Look at this. So they got the Ford kit. This is specific for 94 to 95 SN95, and then they've got it all nicely kind of figured out, right? Oh, dude, awesome. Even crank pulley bolts. That's funny, because I actually just threw the crank pulley bolts in here yesterday to get cleaned up, and I didn't think it'd come with them, so I was going to paint them black and make them look nice. But cool, look at this. And I think I optioned, so they do have regular head bolt kits. I optioned to have the Allen head bolts too, so look at that. All nice and stainless. Fan pulley, obviously, fan pulley. So obviously that we don't need that where we're going. We don't have a fan pulley, right? We've got a later model electric fan, but so some of their stuff might be done. But header bolts, the same thing. I don't think I'll probably use these. I have ARP studs, but yeah, really, really cool. Really nice. So stoked to use this. Next, we need to get the cylinder heads all cleaned up and prepped. Mostly just because I want to have them all ready to go. That way we can, tape the surfaces off, kind of tape this whole cover area. Then we can go ahead and paint the entire block, right? Because we're not painting our aluminum cylinder heads, so we need to have this all cleaned up. So to attack this, I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the other ones. I'll probably take my razor blade and I'll, get off all the big stuff, and then we'll probably just take our little wire wheel stuff and just kind of, try to get it all smooth. Just get it good to go as best we can. All right, so we got this side of the head all prepped up, and it's all nice and smooth. And basically what I ended up using was this, I don't know, basically this is like some stuff I have in the basement for drywall. But this worked really good to, get a big wide area and just get all that old gasket material off, and it's real smooth. I started to kind of practice or try out like that little, the brass wire brush, but to me, it looked like it was just going to make too much, too many scratches in the surface. So I didn't even do that. All this is smooth to the touch. So this is a perfect, gasket surface for cylinder heads. So this is good to go. I also, ended up taking my little vacuum. I ended up, using this guy, sucking up all the debris. But I think once we get the other side done, then what I'll do one last time is kind of flip this whole thing over. And then while it's flipped over, I'll probably take some brake clean, just kind of spray everything down with some brake clean, just to let any other material kind of fall, gravity fall to the ground. Then we can kind of flip it back over, get it all dried up and everything. And then I'll probably start to put the pan on and the timing cover. And then we can get started taping off and getting prepped for paint. So this is our side that is all done, versus I still got to come over here and get all this crap all cleaned up. So pretty big difference. I was worried that might take forever, but it went really, really quick. So probably took all of maybe 10 minutes to get that all cleaned up. So let's go ahead and knock this side out. All right, so I think I got the block pretty much all prepped up. I still need to do some taping and stuff on the cylinder head side. But the next thing I think we need to do is get the timing cover on. And before we do that, I need to get the front main seal pressed in here. So I've got this thing kind of set up, got this thing supported. It's important to keep this thing supported because this little piece of aluminum here that protrudes, this could easily snap off, right? So support this bad boy. Looks like 63 millimeter is the right size. So that way we're pushing down right on the inside of this, to help push it right in there. So you can almost, you can get it started kind of by hand actually. And then I've seen some videos where some of the guys just kind of take a hammer, like a dead blow, and they just kind of hammer it around. So if you don't have one of these things, you could probably do that. I'm going to try this, and then hopefully that makes it pretty simple. All right, so we got this thing driven in, super easy, went right in. So on my cover, I'm going to be painting this thing, so I'm going to have to probably throw some tape maybe around the outside of the seal. But just so FYI, you can buy these things aftermarket. I think for the 94, 95 cars, they're closer to like 90 bucks or something. But I saw for like a Fox body, because they're a little bit different cover, they're only like 60 bucks, 50, 60 bucks. So it might be worth it just to get a brand new one. And then you wouldn't even have to paint it, because it would just be nice looking aluminum. Or even the prep would be easier versus what I did. But I'm going to go ahead and get this on. Now, because we're going to be painting this, I don't necessarily want to paint over top of these nice stainless steel fasteners. I want them to look good. So I think what I'm going to do is put this thing on. We're going to go ahead and put the gasket on and everything. And then I'm just going to put in like a couple bolts just to kind of hold it on there with the factory bolts that I saved. And then once it gets painted, once it dries, tomorrow, then we'll come back and we'll actually remove the bolts, and then put in the actual fasteners and then get it all torqued down to the 15 pound-feet of torque that it calls for all these. And then we can probably even put the water pump on at that time too. All that fun stuff, right? So again, I got the gasket in place, and all I'm doing here is I'm just going to put in these couple bolts just on each side here, just to kind of hold this in place. And that way we can, tape this part off for the water pump, and then we're going to actually be painting all this. And then once we get it painted, once it dries, then we can come back, we'll start swapping out bolts, and actually get all the other bolts in for the water pump, and all this stuff kind of in here permanently. And it looks like our gasket's pretty nice. I saw some videos where some of the gaskets would kind of come above here and you'd have to cut it to fit, but this one from Felpro looks perfect. So now, one important thing you don't want to forget about is put on this oil pan gasket. It comes with these kind of rubber pieces that go over top of here, and then they've got some little tabs that stick down in here. So you want to make sure before you stick this in that your old tabs and everything are all removed. So you can see I didn't do a good job, getting that all out. So that's what I'm doing right now. Just going to get that all out. And then we'll be able to go ahead and actually get this on there. And then we're going to put some RTV on each end of here. We're going to put some RTV at these points here as well. And then we can go ahead and put the gasket on and then get our oil pan on for hopefully the last time. So what's kind of cool with this Felpro gasket, I mean, it's old school, it's corked. I could have gotten, or you could get a like an all rubber gasket that Felpro makes. It's like 22 bucks or something. But again, I've already got this, so I figured, hey, let's do it, right? Cork lasted for years. So this kit's kind of cool where these, they got little tabs here that kind of fit, right into this rubber piece. So it's kind of cool. And then I did put a little bit of black RTV. Silicone, oil-resistant silicone in there, just to be safe. And then also right where the timing cover meets the block, I put a couple, just kind of smeared a light little coat there. So this is all good now. Now we can take our pan and just sit the pan on. All right, guys, now we got the long process. We need to get this deck surface all taped up. I got like the old oil filter on here just to do that. I need to throw some tape on our turbo bung, tape this all off here. So a few things to tape, and then we can actually get started throwing on some primer on this bad boy. All right, I think we are pretty much ready to paint. The only thing I'm missing is I'm going to go get some painting blankets, kind of lay those down, or painting tarps or whatever, just to try to keep as much paint as I can, off the engine stand. But otherwise, I think we're pretty good. Looks like we got everything covered. Things like this oil pressure sensor, I've got a new one ordered, so we'll swap that out, so who cares if it gets paint on it. But, oh, you know what? Got to get some tape on there too. So, okay, let's get that taped. Go get our blankets. We'll be ready to spray. All right, guys, so we are just about ready to go ahead and get this thing painted. So what I got is some Rust-Oleum engine primer, and then we're going to follow it up with some engine enamel. This is just some Ford blue. So that's what we got. So we got a couple cans of each of these things. So go ahead and spray the primer. And I think we got to make sure we recoat it with the blue today as well. So do a couple coats of primer, a couple coats of blue. Should be good to go. Now kind of the strategy here is just kind of a nice light coat at first. Let it kind of get tacky, set up. And then we'll come back, hit it a little bit harder. Probably do one more coat after that of this primer. And then we'll go ahead and hit it with the blue. All right, it's our first coat of primer, all covered. So we'll let this set up, come back, hit it one more time. And yeah, that probably only took like maybe a half can of paint. Didn't take much at all, especially that oil pan's got a lot of surface area with all the bump outs. But so anyway, yeah, should be good. Get that thing second coat done, and then I can't wait to see this thing in blue. It's gonna look sweet, especially once we get like that brand new, you know, shiny aluminum water pump on there. It's gonna be looking awesome. I also ended up painting, I got our rails for the oil pan painted. That way tomorrow, once the whole engine dries, we go to swap this out, we can get the rails put on. And then also I got the pointer all painted too, so we can get that on. So yeah, it's coming together. Pretty stoked. I don't think I showed it on camera either, but I also started cleaning up the thermostat housing. That's going to eventually bolt, you know, here to the front of this high ram. So it looked like total garbage. So I tried to clean it. I tried to polish it, and it still needs some more work. So I just got it sitting in my cleaner bucket here. But we'll get that cleaned up too. All right, so looks pretty good. I think it's been about 20 minutes. I kind of lost track of time. I was inside playing with the kids, but looks pretty dry. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the next coat of primer. Then I might give it 45 minutes, close to an hour. It says to recoat within an hour, but you know, it says cooler temperatures may take longer, and you know, it's pretty warm in here. It's got to be like 65. I mean, it's not bad at all. But anyway, so yeah, we'll may give that a little bit longer just to make sure it's really dry. Then we'll start on our next two coats of the blue. So I'm super stoked, but looks cool. So all right, let's go ahead and hit it with the second coat of primer. All right, so coat number 2 completed, and we honestly didn't even quite use an entire can of primer, but I just kind of, you know, sprayed the extra that I had. So 1 can of primer, that's all it took. I mean, that's including the timing cover, this big ass oil pan. So, you know, if you were just doing just the block alone, I mean, you would only need like a half can of paint. So I definitely bought too much because I bought 2 cans of primer, 2 cans of blue, but you know, apparently. Now, maybe I'll use the extra can of the blue. We'll put, you know, maybe 2 or 3 coats. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and let this thing go ahead and get dry. All right, so it has been about an hour, and it looks like we're all pretty dry. And so now we're going to start with our Ford blue engine enamel. And again, we'll probably use just 1 can, probably 2 coats. But we'll see. We do have an extra can if we need it. But let's just do the same thing. We're going to put this first one on kind of nice and light. See how she does. Oh, there we go. All right, so coat number 1 of the color is completed. Turned out pretty good. I did notice there was a run coming down there, so I got a little bit too wet right there, but the rest of it looks pretty good. So I used, I feel like maybe 2/3 of a can, so definitely a bit more for that color. I'll probably let this dry maybe 45 minutes or so, and then we'll come through, hit it with 1 more coat, 1 more nice wet coat, and then we should be good to go. So while we're waiting for the paint to dry, I've been playing around with cleaning up some of these parts. And I've been cleaning this thermostat housing for quite a while, got it all polished up, you know, best I could. Still kind of looks like crap, but I just bolted it onto the high ram, and it looks like this is absolutely most likely going to be no bueno. I don't think this is really going to fit. So I'm probably going to actually just have to go and get an aftermarket. They actually make these in the aftermarket where this part can rotate. It's clockable, so you can put it to different dimensions, because I need it to probably come out this way a little bit. So that was a big waste of time, but I did get some of my bolts, so my nice stainless bolts. I also figured out earlier that bag that said fan bolts, that's for the water pump, so they actually give you new replacement bolts for the water pump. And I actually got a set of used March underdrive pulleys, all three of them, water pump, crank, and alternator. So that's pretty cool. They were just a little bit dirty, scratched up, got those all cleaned up, ready to go on. So it's coming together here. I also need to figure out what the heck to do with these ugly brackets. So I've heard of some guys saying they cut some of them down because, you know, now we're not using the smog pump anymore. So I don't even know which one that is, but maybe that's something we need to look at. Cut this all down, and then, I don't know, it's all pretty badly corroded aluminum, and I really don't feel like polishing all that up. So we might just end up maybe spraying them with some paint. I did buy some metallic, like it's supposed to be like aluminum finished paint, but I'd have to test it out, see how it works. But I do have some primer, so we could primer it, try to do that, paint it, you know, as long as it looks like aluminum and not like some cheesy kind of chrome. Oh, it's supposed to be aluminum, so maybe we'll give that a shot in the next video. All right, boys, let's knock out the last coat. I did one coat like you guys saw, then off camera I came back with like, I had like a little bit left in that first can, and I just sprayed a little bit. There was a couple little areas where it looked like I had missed it, the blue, but just doing that, I mean, honestly, it looks like it's been like an hour and it still looks like it's dripping wet. I mean, it looks great. So I don't even think it really needs any more coat. So I think I'm just going to do kind of a real light coat, and that's it. This thing's like going to be freaking awesome. I mean, it looks amazing. Looks super wet, super shiny. So looks really good. So quick and easy. Let's knock it out here. Now, I don't even really care about this oil pan. This oil pan, it's for sure got enough paint on it, and it's got runs and stuff, so I don't really want to put a whole lot of paint on the oil pan. So mostly just the block. You know, that's my main concern. I mean, honestly, a lot of the stuff, you're not even going to see it, right? Once you put on engine mounts and, you know, the turbo manifolds and front accessories, all this stuff just kind of disappears anyway. Look at that, nice and shiny. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this video. So the next video, we'll go ahead and we'll get this thing untaped. We'll start getting the front accessories on, all the stainless steel bolts, all that stuff. It's going to look freaking awesome. I cannot wait. But we're going to go ahead and let this thing dry for at least 24 hours. Because again, once I shut my heater off in the garage, it's going to be, you know, 30 degrees. We got a bunch of snow outside. So we're going to let this thing fully dry, let it cure for a couple days. And then we'll go ahead and, you know, get all tape off, all that stuff. We can start putting this thing back together. I'm stoked. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.